Morning, my people. Morning, 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 morning. Oh, Lord, I feel so tired this morning. But you know how it goes. Got to spread a word of upliftment, spread a word of encouragement. Just kind of breathe into the atmosphere, some kind of positivity, even though I feel tired this morning, yeah. You know what I'm saying? And laying down, resting, relaxing, meditating on a number of things. And one of the things that have occurred to me that I'm actually meditating and, going over in my mind on is love. But not just love in and of itself, about like loving our families, loving our friends, loving our neighbors, but a very potent and important fundamental thing, loving our enemies. Now I know it is something very difficult that many of us would want to hear about, loving our enemies, doing good to those who despitefully use you, doing good to those who lie on you, doing good to those who try to bring some form of embarrassment to you, doing good to those who try to even annihilate you, try to take your life from you, who steal from you, who rob you, who have made your lives a living hell. And the worst part is sometimes these persons you may not even have had an encounter with. In other words, you may not even have exchanged words to them. To just see, Jamaicans have a way to say, my spirit can't take her, or my spirit can't take him. If you have the spirit of God, then you shouldn't really be talking like that. You know what I mean? Because the Holy Spirit loves everyone. In spite of our own frailties, in spite of our own faults, in spite of our own challenges, if you do have the Spirit of God, you shouldn't really be talking that way. Now I can understand. There are some persons that instantly God gives you that discerning feeling or that discernment where you realize, okay, I don't think that this person is really for me. But at the same time, in spite of that, it doesn't mean that you need to be rude or to show that person a bad face or to be curt. You know what I mean? You can still be professional. You can still be, just easy. You can still show love, but I'm not saying that you have to become the person's friend or the person's best friend, inviting them over for dinner, carrying them out for dinner, or going to the movies. What I'm simply saying is it is mandatory for us to love our enemies. When you don't love your enemies and you have unforgiveness permeating through your entire being, you ever wonder why sometimes persons develop the chronic and fatal illnesses such as cancer, heart attack, stroke? That's what unforgiveness, bitterness, and malice does to you. When you love your enemies, you release all of that negative emotions so that you release that negativity from damaging your cells. How valuable is your health? You have to think also about how valuable your health is. If your health is valuable, then you'll begin to understand one of the reasons as to why it is important to forgive and to love your enemies, as difficult as it may be. That was it is something that, even now I'm speaking to you, I have to be speaking back to myself, because it's really not an easy road. That's one of the most difficult tasks to do, to love those who persecute you, love those who despitefully use you, who embarrasses you, who probably try to steal from you, who lie on you, who are very deceitful, who probably even try to kill you. That's a very difficult thing to do. You probably think it's just crazy that you're not going to do it. You just probably have this, okay, they do me this, I'm going to do them something as well. Because they have offended me, I'm going to offend them. Now, when you continue to live like that, find out, and I'm sure that if you were to go to the doctor and to check your pressure, you probably may not get the results that you'd want to get. Or if you go and do some tests, you may not get the results that you would want to get, because of all the negativity that you just kept feeding. You kept feeding it. Now, I have this friend, and I never forgot, she said this to me. She said to me, Toni-Ann, I remember I was going to UTech, she was studying at the time, and she said there was a particular young lady who, for the life of me, she just felt the need to just take a set upon me. The girl would just embarrass her, The girl would mock her, and I'm talking in public while a lot of persons are there. And she would sometimes be walking home, crying, bawling, with tears tumbling down. You know what I'm saying? And ironically, they were roommates. They were roommates. I think an elderly lady had rented. She had 2 extra rooms, so she rented, both rooms to them, and so on. And the girl would just totally embarrass her, carried news to the old lady on her, and finally caused her to lose the place, and she had to go and stay with her family. Because where she was staying, it was easier for her to go to school, you know what I mean? Because she really didn't have the wherewithal to go and stay with her family so that she could, get herself to school anyhow.